Okay, so now I'm gonna show you how I do a balayage with a foil. It's kind of very similar to how I do a freehand. So again, you wanna pinch towards where you want your lightener to be concentrated, toward the ends. And you go in and you set your V's. And feather. So it's real soft and natural and doesn't create any lines. Okay. And then I come in with my foil. And I feel like if you have a board, it's actually easier to do balayage with a foil. But then you're gonna go in and saturate your ends. Make sure they're really saturated, work that lightener in so there's no dry pockets. And then once your balayage piece is on the foil, you're just gonna create a nice little foil sandwich. And if it wants to fall, you can tuck the ends in, but for the most part, you should just be able to lay it over top of it. So I'll demonstrate that one more time. And with the balayage, if it's really natural looking, I will leave a section of natural hair in between. So for this section, this side was my bigger piece, so this side, this time is gonna be my bigger piece. So I'm gonna take a smaller piece from this side. I'm gonna leave some hair in between. I'm gonna pinch. I'm gonna set in my V's. Make sure they're nice and feathered in. Don't create any lines. And make sure your ends are nice and saturated. Okay. And then again, you make a little sandwich. Okay. Another variation to help with natural blending, to create that natural look of blending with balayage. Another thing you can do is tease your pieces to really make that diffused blonde with the natural. So I just go in and I'll take my section. Again, I would leave some natural in between, and then I would come in and I would tease back. Set some tease in there. And then you're gonna do the same thing. Come in, set your V's. And you can do it with a foil as well. Make sure it's nice and feathered in. Concentrated at the ends, really worked in there. With the balayage, you don't really want to fold it up because all this lightener is going to get on this part that you worked really hard to feather in to prevent any lines. So you'll just cover that up with just another foil and let that do its thing. Okay, so next we will move on to the ombré. So ombré is, application-wise, it's pretty similar to a balayage because you want to create those V's, you want to make it really nice and blended so you don't have lines. Even though you're going to have a concentration of blonde at the ends, it's going to be this really pretty, there's going to be kind of that in-between tone of whatever your root color is and what your ends are, and it'll meet and kind of marry together, and there shouldn't be any lines. So the biggest difference between an ombre and a balayage is the fact that in an ombre, all of the ends are blonde, where in this balayage, I showed you I left some natural in between. So that natural is going to create that dark to contrast with the light that you're putting in there, where the ombre is you're not going to leave out any hair in between, and all of the ends are going to be saturated with your lightener. But application wise, it's still pretty much the same. Okay, so I took my, let's see, littler section. So I'm actually gonna take 3 sections because this is a pretty wide part of the head. So I'm gonna take 3 sections to change it up this time. And again, we're doing the ombre. So I wanna make sure that all of these ends are super saturated and there's no hair in between. So I'm gonna come in. And also, we're not gonna come up as high with our V's. So I'm gonna stay more toward the ends, create that nice little feathered look, create my V's. And again, I typically have gloves on and I don't have any right now. Thankfully, I'm only using hair gel, so we're good. But you just wanna make sure those ends are nice and saturated and those V's are nice and feathered in. And you'll do the same thing. And you'll make another little sandwich. Okay, and then I'll move to my middle section here. And rotate so you can see. Perfect. Okay, so then we'll come in. We want to stay more toward the end because we're doing an ombre. So the ends are going to be where the concentration of light is. So make those nice little V's. And you can vary. It's actually to prevent lines. You want to vary in how far your V's come up. So even though you're more concentrated toward the ends, there should be a couple of them in there that kind of break it up a little bit so that you don't have any lines. And then apply your color at your ends, really work it in there. And you'll make another sandwich. And we'll do one more just for giggles and grins. Come in, set your V. And this would all be part of the consultation when you talk to the client about how far up their hair shaft they want to see that blonde. Some people want their ombre to start like way up here. Other people really just want their ends. So wherever you do your concentration of lightener, that's really where you're going to see the most dramatic effect. Those top part of the kind of the arms of your V's, those are what's going to help break up that line and help it look more natural and more blended. Just really work it in there. Make sure you're nice and feathered. And put your little sandwich on there. And your foil is good. And so we did the diagonal back slices. We did the horizontal weave. We did the balayage, the vertical slices, and the ombre. Thanks so much.